Hello guys and welcome to another Warcraft 3 shoutcast by Breezy. I've chosen to do a game today between Yumiko, playing as the teal human in the top left spawn location, and his opponent is Fairytale as the red night elf in the top right spawn location. Very interested to see what Fairytale is capable of. I've never seen one of his replays before. Also excited to see how Yumiko plays as human. The last match I watched with Yumiko was versus Fly 100%. He played as Orc and Fly 100% tower rushed him early, but he managed to get the win in the end. That was a very good match. Very good play on both sides. It was a very back and forth match. Early Ancient of War going down for Fairytale just to creep this camp out here by the looks of things. He's also got an Ancient Altar of Elders and a Moonwell coming up in his base. We also have an Altar of Kings, Barracks and a farm. That's pretty standard for Yumiko, going for the human build there. He's going for a second farm straight away, blocking his base off. Ancient of War now coming up to 75% built. See what heroes these two are going. Fairytale will be going for the Warden, and we have Yumiko going for the Mountain King. I love that little midget. Can't wait to see some hammers going off. Barracks almost complete now. A scout militia coming over to Fairytale's base from Yumiko. Just running in there, a little policeman. Just doing a little bit of harassment on the Altar of Elders. And cheekily running off. He's going to go for that Moonwell now. I like that. The Ancient of War is constructed and half built an archer just to get this creep camp going. Another Moonwell coming down by Fairytale. Still nothing out of the ordinary in Yumiko's base right now. Going for a footman early down towards this creep camp. He's probably going to be going militia creep on this. Tree's munching away on the tree there. That's cannibalism, isn't it? In goes the Ancient of War. He's going to start this creep camp early. Two wisps ready to back up the Ancient of War when it gets down to low health. Right now you'll see he's just putting those two wisps next to this archer, so he gets that abuse on the Renegade Wizard using the lightning shield, and he's going to place that right next to these two units. It's very well played there from Fairytale. I'm impressed with that. Just going to start finishing off these red units. The Ancient of War's creep down. Meanwhile Yumiko's going in with a militia on this creep camp. Hammers the hell out of that Kobold Geomancer. Going to get this camp down quite fast with all that militia helping him out. Sneaky little scout farm's been put up in the base of Fairytale. It's going to annoy him loads, I know it would me. So level 2 now for the Warden. Just finishing off the last bit of the creeps. Level 2 goes on for the Mountain King. He's got a Boots of Speed. He's purchased a Shadow Troll Priest to get those healing of the low health footmen and militia. Little cheeky scout wisp down here is going to get taken out by the looks of things. It's not even worth dispelling it really. Across comes the Warden. He just saw where Yumiko was creeping. He probably wants to try and get a little bit of harassment in. That scout farm's not being contested at all right now. It's being ignored. Stormbolt or Bash goes off onto the Knoll Brute there. Just going to try and get this camp down. That Warden's getting dangerously close to Yumiko's creep pattern here. A Tome of Intelligence scopes for the Mountain Kingdom with slight edge on mana, but not that much. Not the best item that could have dropped for it. Back in comes the Warden. Looks like he wants to get a cheeky kill. Shadow melded right now though, just biding his time. Ooh, just he was about to clock one in the face. He managed to put that shadow meld on. Just leaving these forces around his Yumiko right now, just in case those Night Elf units pop back up. Oh, and which they have. Straight away the hammer goes off and a bash onto the Warden. He could be in a bit of trouble now. About half health and he's running them out of the fight. It's a lot of units coming down on the Warden if he does get a second hammer off. He has the mana too, I'm not quite sure. Yumiko is waiting on that hammer. And he's pulling back towards this creep camp. It's going to be a very ballsy move if he starts creeping that camp out right now. With a dangerous little Warden hanging around. Shadow Strike going off on the Troll Berserker and he runs straight out of there. But he's lost his Shadow Troll Priest from a sneaky hammer from the midget. Militia's been brought down to help creep this camp out. There's two footmen chasing that Warden constantly. Bash goes off on the Warden again and a hammer. This could be a lot of trouble now for the Warden. Gets him down to very low hit points and manages to get the kill. That's well played by Yumiko. Fairytale's really got to pull something out now to get this early game back. Gloves of Face, nice drop for the Mountain King. He's going to be slinging those hammers and axes left, right and centre. Leaving his militia down here by the looks of things. Probably going to start making an expansion base with early scout towers. Another Shadow Troll Priest joins Yumiko's army. What's going on in the base of Fairytale? He's just starting to construct an Ancient of Wonders next to that scout farm just so he can get that out of the way without having to focus his army on it. Huntress is now joining the fight for Fairytale's army. He's got one shadow melded. And Archer's still in this location, shadow melded in the expansion attempt of Yumiko. That's going to give him line of sight. He doesn't really want to be bringing that into the fight though, as there's too many units there. It's going to get paled if it reveals itself. He's got a scout wisp on this marketplace, just to, if Yumiko starts creeping it out, he'll know about it. Ancient of War's now moving down towards this expansion. Looks like he's putting a Tree of Life up here, and he's going to walk it down to the expansion and help creep it out with it. The Mountain King's heading towards the base now of Fairytale. Fairytale's starting to creep this camp down just before his hero comes out, so by the time he does come out, that unit's going to be falling and you'll get the experience from it. It's well played there. Good micromanagement. In goes the Warden to finish off this creep camp. But here's the midget, gets shadow struck. He returns the favour with a hammer to the Night Elf face and staffs teleportation out of there. Fairytale now going to finish this creep camp off. That archer's been seen and slaughtered. 5 militia go to work building a town hall in this expansion place. Down comes the Ancient of War munching on a tree, cannibalising again, going to go for this Ogre Magi. In comes the forces of Fairytale. Warden sitting on level 2.5 at the moment. Yumiko's Mountain King sitting on 3.5. That's quite a big boost in experience. Down falls this Ogre Magi, which has dropped a Ring of Protection +2, and he's already got 1 +3, so that's quite a lot of armour stacked up for that Warden. He's going to need it versus those hammers. In comes Yumiko's forces. He's going straight for that Troll Berserker. Gets a hammer off on the Warden straight away, takes that Troll Berserker down, starts focusing on the Warden again. Nice fan of knives coming off by the Warden there. It's damaged a lot of Yumiko's units. The Ancient of War just plumbing away on those units as well. Stormbolt hits the Warden as it retreats behind the gold mine. These Huntresses now are going to follow these footmen all the way across back to that expansion, just trying to get as much damage as they can in before they have to pull back from the towers. And that's interesting from Yumiko. He's upgrading the expansion keep to a keep instead of his main base. He obviously wants to put the focus on that extra gold mine down there. Make sure he keeps it alive. He's investing in it. Down falls a Huntress, caught out sneakily by that midget's hammer. Goes to the shop, buys a potion of a lesser invulnerability. I missed what he sold, but he also bought a scroll of healing as well. It's going to be good versus that fan of knives. It will pretty much negate the effects of it. This expansion attempt has gone up by Fairytale now. The gold mine almost completed. Wisp's waiting outside. I'm not quite sure why that just happened, but the gold mine attempt disappeared and then restarted. Could have been a misclick there from Fairytale, as it was 75% complete, then he had to rebuild it completely. Ogre Mauler and the Warden in the middle now gets a shadow strike off on that Shadow Troll Priest and the Fan of Knives, but that Scroll of Healing takes everything straight back up to green health. Focusing down the Huntresses now, and hammer goes off on it. He's going to run away from it by the looks of things though. And the Shadow Troll Priest, that's a nice move, takes down that Huntress, giving the Mountain King a level 4. Still level 3, just barely. But that Warden gets another Fan of Knives out. Looks like he's going to lose another Huntress. Down it falls to that midget's hammer. Down falls a Shadow Troll Priest for Yumiko's forces. And a Mud Golem's joined the fight for Fairytale. It's a very weak unit, but it does have a good, decent slow effect if you use it on heroes or whatnot. That Ogre Mauler really needs to get out of there. If that dies, that's going to be quite a big chunk of experience going to that little midget. Fully operational expansion up for Fairytale now as well, saturated gold mine. Let's see what's happening in the guys' bases. We have 2 Ancients of Law being constructed by Fairytale, probably going to be going Bears and Dryads. Lumber Mill is upgrading improved masonry. It's going to give his buildings a lot more whack. In comes the forces of the Yumiko, hammer straight off on that Warden again, and a bash. This could be a lot of trouble for the Warden. Right now, that midget's got just enough for a hammer. Don't know why he isn't using it. Oh, it's a very nice play there from Fairytale. Just as he threw that hammer, he managed to get the town portal off. That's wasting the mana of the Mountain King, and the Warden doesn't take any life loss whatsoever. He does have to buy another Scroll of Town Portal though. Looks like he's going to leave it, and he's went for a Potion of Healing instead and a Staff of Preservation. Looks like that Ogre Mauler's going to fall now. Takes a hammer to the back and finished off by Footman. It's a nice chunk of experience going towards that Mountain King. Just took him up to 4.5, whereas the Warden is still sat on barely 3.25. Just took a trip to the marketplace and he's bought a Pendant of Energy. That's going to give him an extra 150 mana. That's practically 2 extra hammers in his arsenal each time. Gets a Scroll of Healing off on all his damaged footmen and Troll Berserker. Fairytale's forces are very weakened at the moment. He needs to do something very special to get back in this game. So he's got 1 Huntress and a Warden on the field. Ancient of War coming over towards the bottom of the map. Hammer goes off on that Huntress. Nice Fan of Knives going off by the Warden. I feel that's another hammer and a bash going off on the Warden. This could be the 3rd time he's in trouble. Uses that Potion of Healing, another Fan of Knives, and it looks like he's going to get out of there alright for the moment. Clarity Potion going off on that Mountain King. Another hammer hits the Warden. Doesn't look like he's going to manage to get the kill though, as he's running that Warden off frantically. Dryad's joined the battle now, just focusing down that Mountain King. Needs to pull those straight out of the fight. Down at the expansion,